Oh yeah, check. That was cool. I'm amazed at like, how far it's gotten. Just like with people hearing the record and knowing the songs and knowing like, some of the stranger songs they're super into. So.
Where was the best place you guys played over there, you think?
Berlin was awesome, and we played like a lobby of a hotel in Stockholm. And it was like 300 people, and then like there was all these people in the street, like looking in, which was really sweet. I mean, it was great. It's like anything. Like, as long as whatever you turn in, like whatever record you finish, you're really happy with and proud of, it wouldn't have really mattered to me. But obviously at the same time, like, it's great. Like it reaches a lot of people. If that's the way that it is, then you just so be it, that like a website has that much, influence. But that's an important thing too. And like, yeah, it just reached a lot more people, and I was really proud of the record, back in March when I finished it. And the label was really happy with it, and the band was psyched on it. So, really that's the most important thing. And, I think in music, if you try to like, cop like a scene, or something that's happening. But if you just do whatever it is you like to do and gets received well, that's, it's a great thing. I don't think so, no. I don't think so. The closest we came to that was a show that both bands played like 3 weeks ago in Holland. And it was really surreal, actually, because I was watching them, and I've played in the Violators for a long time, and I've missed some tours because of the drug stuff, but not really that many. Like back in March when we went on tour, I missed like 2 weeks in America with the Violators, but I did a lot of stuff with them this year, and it was just kind of strange to not be playing up there with them. And it was also kind of weird, to play. Also kind of weird to, play in front of them or something. It was, I don't know if we'll do a joint tour, but we did joint shows back in the day when we were both, playing in Philly all the time. I think when people often ask about like, are you guys gonna collaborate? It's like, well, yeah, we always do. It's like a lot of the stuff from both bands that you hear is like us playing together, or we never really wrote stuff together. It was always just like, if it was my song, he always just gave really good input and put awesome stuff down on it, and I've always tried to give good input on his tunes and play the best I can on his tunes. So it's kind of always been the way it is, and it's a beautiful thing, Yeah, that's a lot of the stuff that we do, like on record, like it could only really happen with like having your own space, because it just took so long to like, not really record, but took so long to get like one thing that ended up on a song, like a pulse or like a drum, what sounds like a drum machine or synth. A lot of that's like hours of like resampling stuff you do and like tweaking it out and sampling again, or like fitting it all together. Then you end up with like a stereo sample of this really dense thing. So that kind of stuff, that's kind of what I use my home studio for, is just like pre-production stuff, or like just like the groundwork for a lot of songs. And then like I take the tapes and bring it to my friend's house. He's at the same tape machine, but like a really nice studio. So put the tapes on, and then we can do stuff in the computer, transfer them in. And then usually we'll fly stuff back to a tape, and I can go home and work on it more, do some stuff at home and back and forth. So it's nice. I've done it both ways too, and then where you rent like a week in the studio, and you can get great results. It's just a little different. Like, it's nice to work on something at home till 3 in the morning, and then wake up the next morning, have some coffee and listen to it, and work on it a little more, and then work on something else. Obviously not on the clock. So yeah, both things. I don't think the records would sound like they would without like the other side of it too, which is like Jeff's studio or like Echo Mountain, but also I couldn't do the stuff just at a studio, because it just takes so much time, and it takes a lot of like it just takes a lot of listening, really, which sometimes in the studio it's more fun to just add, you know, because you're like on the clock, so. You know, like we were listening to like My Hometown the other day, and our tour manager was talking about how, yeah, kids don't like, well, he was saying how he didn't listen to Born in the USA when he was a kid. He was older, so he was like 12. And then like it was that part in My Hometown where like on the last verse where like there's a pause, like an extra measure right before before he says My Hometown again. And that's exactly like, that's like a beautiful thing in that song. And like, you're young though and you don't really understand why that's a beautiful thing. But you grow up and you do, you know? So, yeah, I mean, if someone's drawn to like a certain kind of music, then they'll eventually find something about those guys that they like. Because I didn't really, I mean, you kind of have to be a little older to get into Dylan, I think, or Springsteen. Yeah, it's like I listened to Dylan when I was a kid, but not really. It was really when I was like 19 that I started really getting into like Bootleg Series Volume 3, you know? Or like, then I listened to it, I heard it, and I was like, oh, this stuff's cool. Subterranean Homesick Blues or something, or Like a Rolling Stone, obviously. Masters of War, but like, you get older is when you kind of start to listen to it in a little different way. Same with Bruce, like The River, you can't really wrap your head around The River when you're like 15. You gotta be like a little older, you gotta have broken up with a chick. It was kind of like, this kind of came out of the kind of recording that I started doing. Because at the end of Wagon Wheel, because a lot of those songs, like Arms Like Boulders, those are pretty straight, you know? And then Secretly Canadian wanted to put that record out, but it wasn't really done. So with the recording budget, I bought the tape machine that I have now and some gear and a big board and shit. And like, so like the second half of making that record was me like, because I'd always done recording at home, but never like on that level. And so then I started like seeing things that were so easy to do, just like patching stuff in. And so I kind of stumbled upon a lot of that stuff towards the end of Wagon Wheel. And then really spent like a year and a half, 2 years, just always recording at home, but also like just a lot of experimenting and learning how to do things and just, you know, having friends over to record, and then not for the record, but then I'd like piece it out and like sample stuff, and then I'd end up with something really awesome. So I kind of learned as I went, and then I also enjoy writing too. So kind of like pick apart little melodies, and then it became like kind of full-fledged songs. So. Yeah, it's a shame, you know, it's like a fan, you want to like, you know, you want to like watch basketball and see your team do it, but at the same time, it's like those dudes, you know, no one wants to get taken advantage of, you know, by their owners or by their boss or anybody, so it's a pain because you want to, you know, you want to see if LeBron is going to go all the way. Part of me, I want him to win a championship because he's a great player, and, you know, people are just going to keep giving him shit until he doesn't. So I'd like him to kind of prove himself because he's an amazing player. So we'll see.
I don't mind